All right, let's dive in. Today, we're tackling new learning.
New learning.
It's a hot topic. It's
Yeah.
buzzing around the L&D world, and we're going to unpack it like, what does it actually mean?
Yeah,
We've got a ton of research articles,
we do.
expert opinions, even testimonials. So, this is your crash course in new learning, but with a special focus on something that caught our eye.
Oh, tell me.
The New Learning Lab.
Interesting.
Everyone's talking about it, so we're going to figure out what's going on there, why is it so special, how can you get involved, all that good stuff.
I think many assume that new learning is like a brand new trend, but it's actually deeply rooted in a movement from the 70s and 80s called New Work.
New work.
Yeah,
Oh.
spearheaded by a guy called Frithjof Bergman.
Okay. 70s, 80s, I'm thinking like bell bottoms, disco balls.
Yeah.
How does that relate to like how we learn?
Right. Well, maybe not so much the disco part.
Right.
But the core ideas of New Work were all about self-determination, autonomy, feeling empowered at work. And New Learning takes those principles and applies them to how we learn today
Oh, interesting.
in this crazy, fast-changing world.
So it's not just about like cramming information in your brain.
Yeah.
It's about like how you feel about learning.
Yeah, you got it. It's about feeling in control, like what you're learning and how you're learning.
Gotcha.
And New Learning recognizes that, traditional top-down learning, it's just not cutting it anymore.
Yeah, I feel that.
We need to foster a genuine love of learning that goes beyond the classroom,
Yeah.
or those mandatory corporate training sessions.
Ugh, yes. I can already see the appeal.
Right.
But is this just a fancy rebranding of good old-fashioned learning?
That is the key question.
Yeah. Is there truly something new here?
It's not about slapping a trendy label on something.
Okay.
It's about a fundamental shift in mindset.
Oh.
And our sources, they highlight some core principles that set New Learning apart.
Let's get into those.
Okay, for example, it emphasizes individual potential,
Okay.
helping you discover your strengths and apply those strengths to your work and within a community.
So it's not just about self-improvement in a vacuum.
Yeah.
It's about using your new knowledge to make an impact,
Yes.
which benefits you and everyone around you.
Exactly. It's feeling connected to something bigger than yourself.
I like that.
Another core principle
Okay.
is integrating learning into daily workflows,
Mm-hmm.
making it a natural part of what we do every day,
Okay.
rather than a separate, isolated event.
So less death by PowerPoint, more learning by doing on the job as you go.
Yeah, you got it.
That actually sounds refreshing.
It is. But this requires a supportive learning culture, leadership buy-in and a genuine value placed on continuous learning
Right.
are crucial for new learning to take root
Makes sense.
and thrive within an organization.
It sounds like this is a big shift for companies and individuals.
Yes.
And speaking of putting new learning into action, we keep coming across this New Learning Lab in our research.
Okay.
It sounds like it's more than just a typical learning center.
Interesting.
What exactly is it?
So it's a place to actually experience new learning.
Okay.
Think of it as a living laboratory
Ooh.
where L&D professionals gather to experiment with new approaches,
Ah,
collaborate and test new tools and methods.
gotcha.
It's about learning by doing,
Mm-hmm.
but in a safe, supportive environment,
Yeah.
surrounded by like-minded people.
Okay. That definitely sounds more exciting than sitting through another webinar. I'll
Right?
tell you that. Our sources mentioned some specific things you could actually do within the New Learning Lab. What are some examples?
Okay, so for one, you could be involved in developing and testing new learning resources.
Okay.
And this is about moving away from those traditional course-based models
Mm-hmm.
that often fail to engage learners.
Yeah. We've all been there.
Right.
Death by PowerPoint, for sure.
Think interactive simulations,
Okay.
games, even virtual reality experiences, anything that makes learning stick
Right.
and feels relevant to your work.
You're speaking my language. But what about all this AI stuff everyone's talking about?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that's a huge part of the future of learning. How does the lab address that?
Absolutely. And the New Learning Lab is all over it. They have a dedicated AI adoption in L&D Circle,
Okay.
where you can dive deep into using AI tools like ChatGPT, Claude, Llama, even Mistral.
Wow, that's a lot.
They even provide access to a platform called LangDoc,
Okay.
where you can safely explore and experiment experiment with these tools
Oh, cool.
without the risk of, breaking anything.
Right, yeah.
Or sharing sensitive data.
So it's like a playground for L&D innovation.
Yeah, I like that.
But is it just about playing around with the latest shiny tech?
It's not at all. It's not at all. The lab emphasizes developing a solid AI adoption strategy.
Okay.
So you're not just chasing trends, you're truly integrating AI
Yeah.
thoughtfully into your L&D practices.
Makes sense.
They even have a dedicated learning companion training program to help individuals navigate this new world.
Hold on. Learning companion.
Yeah.
Is that like a digital study buddy for grown-ups?
Kind of. It's more structured than just a study buddy.
Okay.
But the program trains participants to become skilled learning companions
Okay.
who provide guidance and support to others
Mm-hmm.
who are on their own self-directed learning journeys.
So it's like having a mentor or a coach to help you make sense of it all,
Exactly.
especially as things change so rapidly.
Yes.
That's incredibly valuable.
Yeah.
But this lab sounds pretty exclusive.
Does it?
Like, can anyone just waltz in and start experimenting with AI?
It's not about exclusivity, but rather about creating a dedicated space where L&D professionals can truly focus
Okay.
on the future of learning.
Yeah.
And there are various ways to get involved.
Okay.
From joining specific circles,
Right.
like the Peer Learning Enabler Circle,
Okay.
which focuses on building communities of practice, to attending workshops
Okay.
and accessing their curated resources.
Sounds like they've thought of everything.
I think so.
But honestly, why should someone even bother with all of this?
Right. Good question.
Is new learning really that big of a deal?
Yeah, is it?
Like, what's the urgency here?
Well, think about it. The way we work, the skills we need, even the jobs themselves, they're changing faster than ever before.
Yeah.
Traditional learning methods just can't keep up. New Learning and the New Learning Lab are all about equipping you with the mindset and skills to not just survive,
Okay.
but thrive
Ooh, thrive. I like that.
in this constant state of flux.
Okay, you've got my attention. I'm starting to see why this is so relevant, especially now. But I'm also the skeptical type.
Okay, I like that.
Does this actually work?
Right.
Are people really seeing results from new learning in this lab?
That's the best part. It's not just theory.
Okay, good.
We've got real-world stories to back it up.
Ooh.
Our sources include some pretty amazing testimonials from L&D professionals who've already benefited from the New Learning Lab.
All right, spill the tea.
All right, let's do it.
What kind of stories are we talking about here?
Well, one that stood out to me was Simone, a training and development manager at Amgen.
Amgen, the biotech company.
Yeah.
That's a big name to be associated with this. What did she have to say?
Simone, she was initially drawn to the lab's focus on community and connection.
Okay.
She felt isolated in her role at Amgen, dealing with the same old L&D challenges, but the lab provided a space to connect with people
Yeah.
from other companies facing similar situations.
It makes so much sense.
Yeah.
It's easy to feel like you're alone in your struggles,
Mm-hmm.
especially in a field that's constantly evolving. But hearing how others are tackling similar issues
Yeah.
can be incredibly validating and inspiring.
Did she mention any specific takeaways from her experience in the lab?
She did. She highlighted the lab's Skill Hacker Circle,
Okay.
which focuses on content curation.
Content curation.
Yeah.
Okay.
She realized that with the shift towards self-directed learning, it's not enough to simply create content.
Right.
You need to curate and guide learners
Yeah.
to the most relevant
Yeah.
and impactful resources.
Content curation, that sounds like a superpower in today's information-saturated world.
Right.
I feel like I'm constantly drowning in a sea of articles, videos, and webinars. Like, how can you possibly filter it all and find what's truly valuable?
Exactly. And that's where the lab's expertise comes in. They offer workshops and resources that help you develop your curation skills, plus their own website and materials.
Are a fantastic example of curated content, proving that it can be done effectively and with a focus on quality over quantity.
Okay, that's reassuring. It's like they're walking the walk, not just talking the talk.
Exactly.
But back to Simone. Did she feel like her time in the lab actually made a difference back at Amgen?
Yes, she did. She said she felt more confident,
Right.
experimenting with new approaches,
Uh-huh.
and advocating for a more learner-centric culture.
Nice.
She even started implementing some of the lab's principles.
Right.
Like peer learning, integrating learning into daily workflows.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear, real-world impact. But was this just a one-off success story? Does anyone else share similar experiences?
Oh, there are plenty more. Another testimonial that stood out to me was Maria,
Okay.
the LA education specialist at Koenig & Bauer.
Okay.
She was initially hesitant about new learning,
Okay.
finding the whole concept a bit intimidating.
I get that. Sometimes all this new stuff can feel overwhelming, like you need to throw out everything you know and start from scratch.
Yeah.
Did the lab help her overcome that initial resistance?
Yes. What resonated with Maria was that the lab didn't pressure her to adopt everything wholesale.
Mm-hmm.
They encouraged her to explore, experiment, and find what worked best for her
Yeah.
and her organization. She described the lab as a safe space
Oh, okay.
where she could ask questions without feeling judged.
Yeah.
And that feeling of psychological safety allowed her to embrace new ideas
Makes sense.
and try things she wouldn't have considered before.
That's so crucial. It's one thing to talk about innovation, but actually creating an environment where people feel safe,
Yeah.
taking risks,
Mhm.
maybe even failing,
Yeah.
is something else entirely. But did this safe space translate into tangible results for Maria's work at Koenig & Bauer?
Absolutely. She implemented a peer learning initiative inspired by the lab's Peer Learning Enabler Circle. And it's been a huge success. She said her colleagues are more engaged. Okay.
Knowledge is being shared more effectively, and they're seeing a real boost in problem solving.
Great. So this lab isn't just about individual growth,
Right.
but also about empowering people to bring those changes back to their workplaces
Yes.
and make a real difference within their organizations. It's like a ripple effect of positive change.
Love it.
But it makes me wonder, who are the masterminds behind all of this? Who created this new learning utopia?
Well, the New Learning Lab was co-founded by Jan Foelsing
Okay.
and Stefan Dipolder, both recognized figures in the L&D world.
Okay.
Jan is considered a new learning expert in Germany,
Okay.
known for his deep understanding of the principles and practices.
All right, so he's got the theoretical foundation covered.
Okay.
What about Stefan? What's his superpower?
Stefan is all about community and connection.
Okay.
He's a master curator of people and ideas,
Okay.
passionate about fostering collaboration and creating spaces where L&D professionals can learn from each other's experiences. That's fascinating. So they've got the vision, the expertise, and the community building skills.
Yes.
It's like the perfect combination to launch a movement. But let's be honest, this all sounds a bit too good to be true. There must be some challenges, right? What are the potential downsides to new learning? What keeps Jan and Stefan up at night?
One of the biggest challenges they've talked about is overcoming resistance to change.
Yeah.
You know, many organizations are stuck in their old ways of doing things, and shifting to a more learner-centric approach can be met with skepticism and even pushback.
Yeah, I can imagine that. It's like asking people to step outside their comfort zones, embrace a whole new way of thinking about learning. What strategies do they suggest for dealing with this resistance?
They emphasize the importance of starting small,
Okay.
building a coalition of champions within the organization, and showcasing early successes. They also stress the need for clear communication
Yeah.
and demonstrating how new learning can benefit not just individuals, but the organization as a whole.
So it's about meeting people where they are,
Yeah,
proving the value and building momentum gradually.
exactly.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the elephant in the room. AI. It's transforming almost every industry, and learning and development is no exception. How is the New Learning Lab approaching this AI revolution?
They're embracing it, but with caution.
Oop.
They recognize that AI has incredible potential to personalize learning, automate tasks, provide valuable insights.
Yeah.
But they also emphasize the importance of using AI ethically and responsibly,
Right.
always keeping the human element at the forefront.
That's reassuring. It's easy to get caught up in the hype of AI, but we need to remember that it's a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for good or for ill. The lab's emphasis on human-centered AI is encouraging. But how are they actually putting this into practice? What are some concrete examples of their work with AI?
Well, their AI adoption in L&D Circle isn't just about exploring the latest AI tools.
Okay.
It's about developing strategies for integrating these tools in a way that enhances the learning experience,
Right.
not replaces it.
Can you give us a specific example? What might that look like in practice?
For instance, they've been experimenting with AI-powered learning platforms that can personalize learning pathways
Okay.
based on an individual's needs, skills, and goals.
Okay.
Imagine a platform that analyzes your learning style, your current skill set, your desired career path, then recommends specific resources,
Yeah.
activities, and connections tailored to your unique needs.
That sounds incredibly powerful. It's like having a personalized learning coach available 24/7.
Yeah.
But what about the ethical concerns? How do they ensure that these AI systems are fair, unbiased, and respect learners' privacy?
That's a key focus for the lab. They have a dedicated team of experts
Okay.
who are constantly evaluating the ethical implications of AI
Yeah.
in learning. They're developing guidelines
Look.
and best practices to ensure that these technologies are used responsibly and with a human-centered approach.
Okay, that's a relief.
Yeah.
It's great to see that they're not just blindly embracing AI,
No.
but considering the potential downsides and working to mitigate those risks. But it sounds like this AI stuff is still pretty cutting edge.
It is.
Is the lab only focused on the future? Or are they also helping L&D professionals deal with the challenges of today?
They're definitely focused on the future, but they recognize that the present is just as important. They offer a wide range of programs and resources that address current challenges, such as learner engagement, knowledge retention, skill application.
Okay.
They also recognize the emotional challenges, like burnout, the need for support in a constantly evolving field.
So they're not just about shiny new tech and futuristic visions,
Oh.
but about providing practical support for the day-to-day struggles
Yeah,
of L&D professionals.
for sure.
That's good to know. But honestly, with all this talk about AI and the future of learning, I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed.
Oh, yeah, I get that.
What are the key takeaways for our listeners?
Okay.
What should they do if they want to embrace new learning,
Yeah.
but don't know where to start?
Well, the good news is you don't have to go it alone.
Okay.
The New Learning Lab is a fantastic resource. Even if you're just starting to explore these ideas, their website is a great place to begin.
Right.
With articles, case studies,
Yep.
information about their programs and circles. They also have a very active social media presence, so you can connect with them and the wider New Learning community online.
That's really helpful.
Yeah.
It's great to know there's a community out there to support this journey.
Right.
But let's be real. Not everyone has the time or resources to join the lab, attend their programs. What advice would they give to someone who wants to apply new learning principles within their own organization, even without the lab's direct support?
They encourage people to start small,
Mm.
experiment,
Okay,
and find what works best for their specific context.
makes sense.
Don't try to boil the ocean.
Don't boil the ocean.
Right.
Okay.
Focus on one or two key principles, like integrating learning into daily workflows
Okay.
or fostering a culture of peer learning. And remember, it's not about throwing out everything you know,
Right.
but about evolving and adapting your approach to meet the needs of today's learners.
That's a really empowering message.
Yeah.
It's not about waiting for permission
Yeah.
or relying on external resources, but about taking ownership of your own learning and development.
Exactly. And it's about recognizing that learning is a continuous journey, not a destination. Embrace the process, experiment, and have fun along the way.
Well said. But like seeing it in action is what really matters, right?
Absolutely. And our sources include some compelling examples of companies embracing new learning and reaping the benefits. One that stands out is Deutsche Telekom, the telecommunications giant. They implemented a peer learning program called LEX, short for Learning from Experts.
Learning from experts. I like the sound of that. But isn't that what all companies trying to do? What's so new about their approach?
It's about moving beyond, traditional top-down knowledge transfer. They created a platform where employees can connect with internal experts directly, tapping into the wealth of knowledge that often goes unnoticed within large organizations.
So it's like a matchmaking service for knowledge seekers and knowledge holders within the company.
Yeah, you got it.
That's brilliant. But does it actually work? Are people really finding and sharing valuable information through this platform?
It's been incredibly successful. Employees are more engaged. Knowledge is being shared more organically. It's a testament to the power of peer learning and tapping into the collective intelligence of the organization.
I'm starting to see how this aligns with the New Learning Lab's principles.
Yeah.
It's about empowering individuals to learn from each other, not just relying on formal training programs. Any other examples that demonstrate this shift?
Another company that caught my eye is Bosch, the engineering and technology giant. They've established the Bosch Club as a central hub for peer learning and knowledge exchange.
the Bosch Club. It sounds almost like a social club, not a corporate initiative. What exactly happens there?
It's a space where employees can connect, share their expertise, and learn from each other through workshops, mentoring programs, and, informal gatherings.
I like where this is going. It sounds like they're really trying to make learning fun and engaging, not just another task on a to-do list. Wow, that's impressive. It sounds like new learning isn't just about individual growth, but about creating a more collaborative and dynamic culture within organizations. It makes me think, could these same principles be applied outside the workplace?
That's a great question, and one that the New Learning Lab is actively exploring. They believe that the principles of self-directed learning, community, and integrating learning into daily life can be applied to any context: education, personal development, even community building.
That's a powerful thought. It's like democratizing learning, making it accessible and engaging for everyone, not just those informal learning environments. It's been an incredible journey exploring new learning and the New Learning Lab. We've covered a lot of ground. From the philosophical underpinnings to the practical applications and real-world examples of its impact. What a ride.
It has been quite a journey. It's been fascinating to see how this movement is challenging traditional approaches to learning and development.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the key message for our listeners? What do we want them to take away from all of this?
I think the future of learning is in our hands. It's about embracing the principles of new learning, self-directed learning, community, and integrating learning into everyday life, and finding ways to apply them to our own contexts, whether it's within our organizations, our communities, or our own personal development.
It's about recognizing that learning isn't just about acquiring knowledge, but about fostering a love of learning, a thirst for knowledge, and a desire to grow and evolve throughout our lives.
And if you're feeling inspired to explore further, the New Learning Lab is a fantastic resource, even if you're just starting to dip your toes into the new learning waters.
We'll be sharing links to their website, social media channels, and other resources in the show notes, so be sure to check those out and connect with the community.
And most importantly, never stop learning. Never stop exploring, and never stop pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
That's a great note to end on. Until next time, keep those learning fires burning.